Hey, you guys. So this leg day is going to be a long clip. Warming up with the jump rope here. This is the typical warm up. Usually it's just Tabata. You go 20 on, 10 off, and I just do half, which is about 2 minutes. The full Tabata is 4 minutes. I'm just not in enough shape for that. This is more just as a warm up instead of a workout. So gets everything firing, gets me loose, even my shoulders and everything. So I figured, jump rope's a great way for me to warm up and be able to focus on, being light on my feet and a little bit of athleticism as well. Not just that, but it's going to work on my lungs and my heart as well. So with that being said there, the main focus then is a lot of balance and stability work. This is where it's going to take a while. Like each one of these sets takes like a minute to a minute and a half just because of the time under tension. So there's 15 on each leg here, the Bulgarian split squats. And this is my first set. So like I'm still warming up and everything, getting my depth just isn't quite there. Like my hip flexor is what's tight, so that's what's keeping me from getting lower and everything. So when you guys are performing this exercise, you want to make sure that your off knee is touching the ground, or if not almost touching the ground. That way you're working on mobility. The main reason for Bulgarian split squats isn't to go super heavy. It's so you're working on your stability and your mobility through your hips and your legs. And I should incorporate these a lot more. A lot of the time, they're just used as an accessory at the end of my workout, along with some lunges, some lunge step-ups, and some step-ups and everything. But I think a lot of athletes out there and a lot of lifters really, really neglect doing one-legged movements. And I'm just trying to incorporate more of those because the next day, not only am I sore, but I feel better. My knees don't bother me. Hips don't bother me. Lower back doesn't bother me. Normal soreness, which is good. Soreness is good, but pain, obviously isn't good. So me doing more exercises like this has eliminated those. So it's a no-brainer. I have to do them. And it burns. So it's not only just burning on the active leg here. So as you guys can see right now, my right leg's out in front. Not as my quad's not just burning, but my off one is as well. And that's because it's pre-exhausted and the hip flexor is engaged because now it's being stretched and it's acting as an antagonist. And if you do regular squats all the time or front squats, we'll say maybe leg presses, hack squats and all that, it's not working in that stretch and hold stability position like that. So that's why these are important. So now I'm throwing a curveball in my body, in other words. So it's kind of like, okay, what are you doing? This isn't something we're used to. And I'm forcing my body to be in good position. And these are difficult. Like I said, when you're shooting for 15 on each leg and you're going slow and controlled and trying to keep your balance, it takes a good minute to a minute and a half. And you don't really want to just bang these reps out real quick. These are meant to be more of a bodybuilding style, slow and controlled. And what I love about these is anybody at any level can do these. And let's say you didn't have the balance nor the strength to do this. TRX bands, or you could do these within the squat rack and do kind of like half fill squat. That's it. And when you grab the bar and you pull yourself up, you can set it up just like that. And maybe I should make a video for you guys at some point in time, and I'll show you different ways to be able to do these easier if, doing your body weight or holding on to dumbbells, kettlebells might be too difficult. So, either way, with all that being said, I'm not getting enough hamstring activation in this, even though, the hamstrings are acting as an antagonist, just like in a normal squat. What you're going to see here coming up is a split stance RDL. And I guess just to start going over that, both feet are on the ground, and you'll see that here in a bit. I grab one dumbbell, sorry. You can use kettlebells. It doesn't really matter. You can use a kettlebell, dumbbell, even maybe just a barbell weight, as long as you can hang on to something. Some people like something in both hands, but I wanted the offset, so I put it in my opposite hand. So let's say my right leg was my lead leg in the front, which I believe it was my left leg actually. I'll grip it with the opposite hand. So you guys are going to see that right now. And okay, left leg is the lead leg, and you can see I'm grabbing it with the right, and I'm just going right to where it starts to really stretch. And I'm not trying to stretch beyond that in an uncomfortable position. I'm trying to get just enough stretch and then come all the way up. So I'm feeling it a lot, not just in the left hamstring since it's the lead leg, but in the right hamstring as well. But I chose to do these for the offset position. So now my hips are in a different position, my back and lats, everything's in a different position, and I'm stretching in different ways. So this is also going to throw a curveball at my body. And I'm only doing a 15-pound dumbbell. You don't need much. So when you're doing little accessory exercises like this, body weight is sufficient enough. Or you can grab yourself, a little dumbbell, a little kettlebell, anything, even a band. Even if you wanted to put like a band around your foot at the bottom and pull up on the band, not a bad idea. If anything, I think the band would probably be more effective. But for me, it was more, instead of working on, say, like the band aspect of things where you're going to accelerate and keep more tension at the top, I am just focusing on just a little bit of an offset, more the balance aspect of it. That's why I'm doing these. And again, these, just like the Bulgarian split squats, take a good while to do just because they're slow, they're controlled. I'm doing 15 on each side, 30 reps total, and it just takes a minute. That's all. But you guys can also do these in an assisted exercise as well, okay? So what I mean by that is you guys can put the bar in front of you, say in the power rack, or maybe just use the power rack or a bench or whatever. And let's say you're losing your balance and you can catch yourself. You can push yourself off to the side. You can push yourself up in front, anything like that. Now, this, for most people, it should be fairly routine. You might not need that. But I know when I've worked with clients in the past, sometimes it's needed just because, balance can be a little bit tricky, okay? Now, let's say, you want to accelerate the balance and work on the balance even more. If you guys have heard of a Bosu ball, which I can show you guys these in the future as well, you stand on the flat part of the Bosu ball, which if any of you know about it, it's a half circle ball with a flat top or bottom, however way you set it up. So we'll flip it and put the ball side on the ground. Put the ball side on the ground with the flat side up, and I climb up on there and get into this narrow stance with a slight split, and again do the same thing. So now it's going to wobble, it's going to move, it's going to force me to be in more control and in more balance. That's something I do with a lot of athletes, especially advanced athletes, just so it's going to heighten the stability muscles, and it's going to challenge them, in other words. Because an exercise like this for a young man or woman that's already in good balance, good shape, it's probably not going to challenge them appropriately. So then that's when you throw the Bosu ball into the mix, and then we can throw bands in too from the side. So we can have a band pulling on the hip, we can have a band pulling on the knee. Again, we could be pulling on the band from the foot, or we can do it every which direction if you want to get crazy and wild. But I mean, that's a whole nother topic and everything, and that might be another video I'll make here in the future, showing you guys what direction bands can be pulling, what muscles they're going to be activating, and the benefits of using those bands and pulling in those directions. But I mean, either way, with all that being said, I still work on my squat form and everything, which will be coming up here, and even later down the road I still do some snatches. But for me, this is a big deload week. So I wanted to go very, very light and work on stability, because like my hips, my low back were overworked from, I want to say, probably doing those banded deadlifts on, and then I pushed myself pretty hard in the squats, and I just wasn't recovering fast enough. So long story short, I was like, okay, I'm going to need a real big back down week, and then that's where you guys are seeing these now. These are almost like rehab, active recovery exercises. You're going to get good blood flow. You're going to get a pump. You're going to feel pretty good. It's just now this is just to get the blood into the muscle and to focus on the recovery aspect of things versus the strength. And that's why I'm only squatting about 115 pounds here. Now the bar, to be exact, I think is about 63 pounds, but we'll just round it up to an even 65 and everything. So now with these cambered bars, the biggest thing people do, biggest mistake, is they're going to grab the outside where they 90 down. So you see how the bar will sway with every squat? You want the bar to sway. This bar is designed for stability. It's going to shake you around. It's going to move you around, as you guys can see what the bar wants to do. So you have to grip it like a normal barbell for your back squat. And now it's a little bit thicker, so you can't really wrap your hands around it, but that's the bar placement. And we do this because now it's activating my core. It's shifting my bar placement out of my normal bar path. Usually your bar path's a pretty straight line over the arch of the foot. Well, this wants to shake and move me around. That's why I'm doing such light weight for sets of 15, and I only do 3 sets of 15. But besides the point, that's what we're going for. So many people will be squatting 500, 600, 700 pounds with these, and they're like, oh, I can squat so much more weight with this bar. Yes, that is the case when you take the sway out of it. If you add that swing and that sway, now the exercise gets tremendously more difficult. And that's the point. We want it to be more difficult. We don't want this exercise to be easy. And that's where, I'm really, really, really focusing on that balance aspect and the sway of the bar, and I brace too. So when I come up to the top, I take my air and I brace, and it's quicker than, like maximum effort squats, but I'm still tightening my core and breathing through my abdomen and holding that tension all the way down, and then just giving an appropriate pop out of the hole. And I felt like I was in very, very good position. I think this is really going to cross over to my back squats and help me stabilize that heavier weight. A lot of the time, for you out there listening, it's not so much the weight, it's the positioning of your squat. So many people have incredibly strong legs, and you'll notice, like, on a hack squat machine or a leg press or whatever. Now, leg press isn't like a squat, and you can always leg press way more, but you'll notice like there's a huge weight gap between that and your back squat. And you're going to be like, I wonder why I can do so much more. Well, it's because of the positioning. If you work on your bar path, your positioning, your bracing, and your core strength, you're going to be able to squat a lot more weight. Okay, but with that being said, I wanted to work on some posterior chain stuff as well still, and just working on the speed and athleticism part of all my lifting. So I do these snatch variations here, which is just kind of, like my pulse deadlifts or benches and all that you see. So I'll do like a half rep up to the knee, come down, touch, and explode for a full rep. And then this is just going to help me develop more power, more speed, and also, again, working on mobility and athleticism. But with all that being said, if you guys don't already, please follow me at Paul Yeoman on Instagram. Please follow the gym at _basement gym. And again, you guys, thanks for watching, and please subscribe.